Okay, in this session, we're going to take a look at the different ways that you can access data in the system and visualize it for reporting purposes. So we're going to take a look at the dashboard and this Discover tab. I'll get back to the dashboard in a minute. I do want to start by drilling into Discover a little bit. So in the Discover tab, this is essentially where you can slice and dice data, drill down to the specific information that you're interested in. And there's two things that we can look at. Number one, the default view here is showing all the different, we call them data points. It's each piece of data that's stored in the system. And you can't see the actual values. Those are encrypted in the vault, and we intentionally don't want to display the underlying values here in the ViziVault Enterprise dashboard. But instead, it's showing you all the pieces of metadata around each piece of data that's being stored. So you can see, for example, this data subject here, we have multiple pieces of information about him. We have his shipping information, billing information, and then all of the tags, regulations, and sensitivities. These are things that would be captured and defined by the rules that were executed against this data. And then you can also see which applications have access to the information and when the last update was for each of these. The other type of information that we can look at, if we go and switch this to the audit log view, this is now showing the activity around the data. So you can see when data is created, updated, deleted, or read. Each of those actions are tracked in the system as well. And so any reporting or investigations where you need to understand what was happening with the data, not just the value itself, that's all here in the audit log. We'll switch back to attributes here for a second. So in order to drill down into something specific, we have a series of filters here at the top. So for example, if I wanted to specifically drill down into payment card information, there's a tag applied to certain pieces of data as it comes in that adds the payment card tag. And so we can filter down to the payment card information. And so you can see that filtered my list down. I've about 6,300 records here, and I can see all of the pieces of information that we have in the system that are tagged with the payment card tag. What we can also do, once we've drilled down to the data set that we're interested in, we can add a visualization to help sort of understand the data better. So I'm going to go ahead and add a visualization to this query. And what I'm going to do is I want to see the attribute breakdown of all of the payment card information that we have. So I'm going to add an attribute visualization. And so you can see here, there's 488 billing address state records that were tagged with payment card information. And so this is how this Discover area is how you can really drill down and find specific data, visualize it, report on it, and that sort of thing. So so that's the Discover tab. That's where you really drill down into your data. On the dashboard, we'll kind of step through the widgets that we make available through the dashboard, and then for anything that's not supported in the dashboard, that's where the Discover area would be used to build these custom widgets. So first, notification. This is we'll drill into that into a later session, but this is all of the sort of high risk or informational notifications that are set up and reported to the system show up here in the notifications widget. The schedule alerts, these are the various alerts that we have that run at certain periods of time and feed this notification area. Privacy regulation liability, this is showing the number of data points that are tagged with each regulation. And we separately report managed versus what we call unprotected. So these are managed refers to any application data that is being fully leveraging the vault. So it's using the vault as the source of truth. It's taking advantage of the encryption and security protocols. And then anything that's unprotected would be a system that's still using its own data source for personal information, and it's just reporting that information in. So it's, ViziVault is not managing the data, but it is here so that it can be centralized and reported on and classified and things of that nature. Okay, and then attributes breakdown. This is just showing across the whole system how many data points for each attribute are out there throughout the organization. And so you can see we have 492 email additional fields in the system. Activity geographic distribution. This is showing from the audit log data where these requests are coming from. So you can see here a lot of the requests are coming from the United States, and then a high volume from Russia and China as well. So you can kind of see where throughout the world where data is being accessed from. Also, you can see the number of data subjects that are in the system over time. So the number of people that we're tracking information about, average activity volume, sort of when activity is happening throughout the system. So you can see here Thursday, Friday, and Sunday are high activity days. Data accessibility by application. So you can see each application, how many data points they have, and how much the ability for each application to read, store, or delete those data points. Retention policy status. So you can set retention policies on data, and here we can see that we have a pretty high number of data points that have exceeded their retention. So this might be something that we want to take action on. And then also the attributes with most activity. So you can see pretty high amount of activity with social security numbers, right? 11 have been stored, 4 updated. And so this might be something that's a little bit concerning, the amount of activity going on with social security numbers. And then also the sort of recent activity and what's been happening in the system. So those are the widgets that we offer just out of the box. And then again, anything that we want to do beyond what we offer in the dashboard can be specifically drilled into here in the Discover tab.